Due to the graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
To the west of the great continent of Kern lies the island provinces of Perth, home to brave seafarers, exotic pleasures, storms of swirling magical energy, and cults dedicated to the old gods. Upon these white sands came the Eve's Watch, a band of sellswords and brutes seeking their fortune upon the shores of these lands. Let me tell you of this age of legends, for I and I alone am keeper of their saga. This is their chronicle.
Moulay, a parlay has been requested.
Do I recognize this creature that has stepped forward? It's going to make an Arcana check.
You may.
19.
There's not much knowledge that you have readily available about these things. You don't know a species name. You've never actually even heard of any creatures similar to this. It looks like undead on first glance, but it breathes. It speaks. As best you know, it's mortal.
I will just stand impassively, no hint of emotion, and wait for it to speak, since they requested the parlay.
You are the party that is searching for the missing princess, yes?
What do you know about the princess?
I know where she is. My benefactor is willing to provide you with a handsome sum of money for you to leave this island and stop meddling in our affairs.
Your benefactor being the one who captured the princess, I assume.
You assume correctly.
Why would we leave?
Why would you not? Name me a price. Zaeron is quite wealthy.
Zaeron is doing things that may have lasting implications for not just this island, but the world at large. The Eve's Watch is under contract now to stop that from occurring, and we do not negate a contract ever.
Even if it means your lives.
Yes.
No matter what the sum of money.
We are already promised a great sum of money for completing our contract.
Perhaps Zaeron can offer a greater sum of money.
Does not matter.
You will certainly perish in your endeavors.
Jeel charges him.
Tuco unleashes an arrow.
Okay, roll for initiative.
Seems the talking is done.
That went longer than I thought it was going to.
Ku.
18.
Lovak.
12.
Tuco is at 7. Shynn.
19.
Moulay.
11.
Jeel.
15.
GM.
13.
Top of the initiative is the 19 Shynn. Do the two attacks that were mentioned before initiative get a chance to get off?
No.
A shield of faith, and then move to the most central position of our spread out group as I can, and stare the ugly no-nosed slouch right in the face. End of turn.
You do have another action to use if you wish to cast.
That's okay.
Okay. Just letting you know.
I'm not taking the first blow.
Ku.
Understood.
I didn't do it. Approximately how far is Ku away from the snake-like people and the skeletal being?
40 feet.
Ku will then... And how far is Moulay from the skeletal being?
How far forward did you step, Moulay?
I mean, he came to me, right? I assumed we were probably about 20 feet apart.
Ku will take out a short bow, knock an arrow, and fire at... How many snakes are on either side?
10 on each side.
They closed the gap once that thing came forward.
He's going to fire at the big one. That is a 25 for 6 points of damage.
You loose your arrow, and he pivots to one side, the arrow barely catching his abdomen as it whizzes past.
Jeel is next.
Jeel's gonna rage and reckless attack. You said it was 40 feet from us?
Yes.
I still make it. First attack will miss with a 9 or a 10, and second attack. AC 14.
Who or what are you attacking?
The thing that came down the stairs.
Actually, you came up the stairs. That is a miss.
After 15 is a 13 GM.
The lizard things grab their spears and launch them. The air is full of spears. Lovak, does a 17 hit? Do you
It
have
does
any?
not.
Tuco, 16?
It.
I'm trying. to hit you, Ku. The dice are not in my favor. A spear passes over your shoulder, nicking your shoulder and your neck. You take 8 points of damage.
I use Uncanny Dodge to reduce it half.
Jeel, 16.
Yes.
You are grazed in the thigh with a spear. You take 5 points of damage. And the thing with the ram's horns begins to back towards the mass of reptilian soldiers.
He starts to back away from me.
Yes,
Attack of opportunity. AC 19
that'll hit.
for 10 points.
Okay. GM's turn is done.
After GM is 12, Lovak.
Cast Shield of Faith, then use my other action, use a move action to get as close to any of the lizard folk as possible. I don't know if I'll be able to get there in 30 feet, but
You'll get within 10
Okay.
feet of them.
that'll get me close enough for now.
Next is Moulet.
So the snake people close ranks, right, effectively. So they're kind of in a cluster
Yes.
crowd. Lovak is moved up on one side. I'm going to move a little closer, within 10 feet of them, with as many in front of me as possible. And I cast a spell. This one's new. You have not, any of you, seen this yet. Pull out my wand, wave it in a gesture, and speak some intoning words. And you see this cone of shadows emerge from my being and wash over them. 30-foot cone of fear. Each of the snake people in the cone needs to make a wisdom saving throw. DC is 14.
What are the effects?
Any who fail their saving throw are frightened by me. On their turn, they must take the dash action to move as far away from me as possible. While I am visible, they do not get another saving throw. If at any point I am not visible to them, they may make another wisdom saving throw at the end of their turn. So we won't actually know how many are affected until they go again. Though it does drop whatever it's holding immediately.
End of your turn?
I will use the rest of my movement to move back the way I came. So I would have moved 10 foot up, so I'll move 10 feet back.
Tuco is last. Are any of my opponents within melee range of any of my compatriots?
Jeel,
Lizard folk or big boss?
the reptilian things.
Okay.
Snake people.
I will fire off an arrow at one of them. Badly. A 10.
10 misses. Your arrow surprisingly misses its mark amidst the cluster of snake things.
I close distance to stand next to Moulet. And that is my turn. Top of the order is Shynn.
Where is the big ugly located?
He is at the back of that cluster of soldiers.
Okay, and how far away are they?
The soldiers?
Yeah.
40 feet to the front line.
I'll use my movement to go half the distance, and then I firebolt the big guy with no face.
That works.
Unfortunately, it's only a 7.
Firebolt goes astray, leaving a streak of crimson in the air.
Ku is up.
Approximately how far are the enemies away from me now?
40 feet.
And how many of them are in range of Moulet and Tuco?
None of them.
Ku is going to move forth the full 35 feet, and he drops his bow, pulls out both daggers, and moves forward 35 feet. One dagger, the masterwork, the other one glowing because the moon touched. Though it's daylight, so it's visible but not visible. And he's going to make an attack with the masterwork. That is a 14.
14 is a miss.
Flurry of blows, punching with both daggers in hand. That's a miss. And I'm re-rolling that natural one with the lucky. That is a 19
19 hits.
for 6 points of damage.
You move in on your opponent, make an arcing attack with your dagger. He steps back. You follow up with a back fist, a spin kick, and then an elbow to the face, which lands, jerking his head back. The thing bleeds.
Next is Jeel.
The guy with no face. I'll be attacking him.
You're going to have to go through a line of soldiers to get to him.
Okay.
So, from a gameplay, he wouldn't be able to step through the line of soldiers. You can't pass through threatened space unless you're allowed to.
He would have to
You have to fight. the
literally
snake-
go
Okay.
through
yeah,
them.
you have to fight the snake people, which is fine. You can still swing, but
I did, AC 10.
That is a miss.
20, AC 21.
That'll hit.
12 points.
You move in, swing at one, miss, just weren't close enough. Step in and strike the one next to him, knocking him aside into another soldier. You did 12 points, you
Yes.
said?
After Jeel is GM.
Kill them, my minions. Kill them all, he says, as Moulet's shadowy magic drifts across in a wave of the soldiers, all but 5 start to quiver and run in different directions. Some past you, some past the cloaked figure with the ram's horns.
That will provoke attacks of opportunity, so anybody that they run past will get an attack.
Who gets an attack of opportunity? We only get 1 per, but
Correct.
Shynn, Lovak, and Jeel.
I missed.
I missed.
Oh, that one. Nope, I miss.
You weren't watching. Scott came in here and was like fondling everyone's dice.
I brought extras.
Seeing his force flee, the creature throws his hands up in the air. A void opens behind him, and he takes a step back into it. You have not seen the last of me, and the void closes. The other snake things look to one another, and one of them bows and says, "Parlay, parlay, we seek to parlay. Our master is cruel. Blame not us for what we have done. Parlay."
Whose turn is it?
GMs.
Well, after
That
the
is the
GMs.
Is GM done?
Yes,
Next is Lovak.
Still one standing in front of me.
there's still 5. Take your pick. Do you want the one who's trying to negotiate peace? Do you want his friends that have hopeful looks on their faces?
Well, I have my spear in hand. I rear it back and I look quickly over at Moulet.
Am I allowed to speak out of turn? I mean, that's the thing. I
A
mean,
facial gesture,
Hi.
a head nod, a smile.
I give you a head nod, but I don't know how you're going to interpret that.
I thrust my spear.
Was that what it was meant to?
No.
I would have thought it had shake.
That is a 15.
That'll hit.
That is going to be 9 points damage.
Interpreting Moulet's head shake as a go ahead and kill him, you thrust your spear into the creature. It grabs your spear and says, "Parlay."
I'll take my second attack. I will draw the spear out, spin it above my head, and use a sweeping motion with the wide blade. That is going to be a 20 bunch.
A 20 bunch will hit,
That is for another 4 points damage.
and he falls dead as the tip of the spear cuts across his neck, spewing a gout of blood down his chest. The
Thanks.
others immediately drop to their knees and put their hands up in the air.
they're snakes. Do they really have knees?
Yes, they have legs, arms and legs.
Next is Moulet.
I hold up my hands and say, I look to my companions. Let's see what they have to say. We can still kill them if their information does not meet our needs.
Oh, no kill. No kill.
And I'll walk forward.
Friends.
I'm not sure I'd say friends, but let's start with you talking. What can you tell us?
What do you want to know?
Where's the keep? How many are guarding it? What dangers might we face there? What's the best way to get in?
He points northeasterly direction across the city and into the jungle. Many soldiers, many strong and powerful soldiers,
Like yourselves?
like myself, but others.
How many of them like your master?
Which master?
The one who came here with you?
One like him. One like the great master as well.
Who is the great master?
Sorcerer Zaoran. He controls evil magics of the old world.
What kind of being is he? Is he like me, or more like...
Like that one. Points to Lovak.
Why are you so willing to parlay with us instead of just attacking?
I do not want to die.
Is there another way into the keep?
There is only one I know of, across the stone bridge and through the gates. Unless you fly, like the Neusi.
How many Neusi are there?
There is but one, the last of its kind, a demon of the old world.
How came you to be here?
We were just here.
How long have you been here?
Where is this Neusi?
I do not know the Neusi. I do not know where this is. It is a minion of Zaoran.
Did you come here from someplace else? Were you elsewhere before you were here, or have you always been
Elsewhere.
here?
Yes, elsewhere.
Was it like this? And I gestured towards the jungle. Was it heavily forested?
Yes, but different.
What do you know of the ritual with the princess?
I know nothing of rituals.
Do you know where the princess is being kept?
In the keep.
Do you know where in the keep? Is there a central chamber? Jail? Do any of your men know? Have any of your soldiers patrolled that place?
We are soldiers. None of us go into the depths of the keep.
Do you know what manner of creatures do patrol inside the keep?
A man, a dark-skinned man, with other dark-skinned men, dark like the night sky, with no stars.
Leathery wings?
That is the Neusi of what would you speak.
He's talking about those from Mahz'Shapour.
Like Kushim. Did these men come recently?
Yes.
The ones of you that are here, will you flee deeper into the jungle?
Us. Yes. Till the mother finds us.
Who is the mother?
Creator.
Does anybody else have any more pressing questions for them? Anything they could
I'm
offer
going to
to
walk
us?
up, put the tip of my spear to his chest, take you and all you can find of yours, and go as deep into the forest and the jungle as you possibly can until the mother finds you, or your death is assured.
As he's saying that, with the tip to the guy's throat chest area, I'm gonna push the back of his spear as hard as I can.
Roll to hit.
19.
Jeel shoves you roughly from behind, and your spear tip penetrates the chest of this snake thing. Roll your damage.
It'd be his damage
Won't be any strength, but it'd be 5 points.
Plus his strength.
plus my strength.
Yeah. So it'd be your strength.
Plus 3.
Total of 8.
The thing howls in pain. He jerks his shoulder free, scrambles to get up. His colleagues do the same, and they begin to scatter.
I'm going to scream. Even our weapons want your blood. All by themselves. Run!
You don't think they're gonna go back to tell somebody?
No.
Their boss went back to tell. Who cares if they tell? They're just grunts. They're nothing.
20 less grunts we have to face.
And there's so many more that are out there. It's a lot easier to let these few live and scare the living crap out of them. Let them wait for their mother or whatever the hell that is.
Let them go off peacefully without issue, so that way they're not going to pincer attack us from behind as we're trying to get across that bridge.
Well, not so peacefully, but
Then I'm going to punch Jeel in the chest. Jerk.
Wasn't my spear.
Jerk.
Wow, that negotiation went swimmingly.
Tuco turns to Lovak and says, "What did they mean, like you?
Probably one of the Celestials.
You think they have Celestials guarding that house?
No, I think it's a Celestial running the house.
Zarayon.
Well, this just gets better and better, doesn't it?
We could say that Mule is like you, Tuco. Not completely like you,
Correct.
but like you.
We've got a wizard. We've got a big monkey bat. We've got a Celestial.
The wizard and the celestial are the same thing.
Don't forget the flying thing.
That's the monkey bat.
No, they said there was more. They said the lower reaches were guarded by one like him who was not the wizard.
No. The skeletal thing we just saw is one.
Right.
Zeron is a second one. That's the one who looks like Lovak. And then there's the bat. Those are the three special creatures.
I thought that they said there was another guarding the lower reaches.
No, the
there
humans
are.
aren't.
Kashim and his men are guarding the lower reaches. So they will get their due.
Oh, yes. I'm anxiously awaiting that.
Still sounds fucking terrible.
Well,
Tuco, I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, we've seen worse. We've done worse. We have a giant blue guy to counter their monkey guy. We have Mule over here to counter their caster. And you have your own Celestial. So, hey, I think it sounds pretty even to us.
We've seen worse than a wizard bringing in an old god. I don't remember that adventure.
when we're done and the princess is saved, I intend to come back to the city because there are things I would like to investigate
Yeah,
here.
but the
so-
predators will be picking at this.
There'll be more.
All right, let's keep moving. We still have a keep to get to. And scope out and see if we can find another way in. Crossing that bridge does not please me.
No, that does not sound like a great part of this adventure. Off we go.
In the year 2014, a new squad of operatives was chosen by the College of Illusion. These fools promptly went on to frustrate their DM at every opportunity. Today, still working together, because really, who else would work with them? They survive as adventurers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the Second Breakfast Club.
Tony Kinney as Eddie Falzoni.
Jess Owen as Adira Glow.
Michael Cole as Urag.
Jesse Wicks as Bill Quiverlance. Nico Rodriguez as your DM.
Welcome back to the continuing tales of A Fool's Quest.
You move through the city. Tuco still kind of scouting ahead stealthily with Ku.
Same plan.
Is it necessary to be moving stealthily?
At this point, that's exactly true.
They've known exactly where we are the whole time. They know we're coming.
Fair point.
At this point, we probably don't need to move slow
Now,
enough to allow us.
just close as much distance as possible.
You move deeper into the city and are coming around the mountain. It's now late morning, early afternoon. The Neusi, this flying bat humanoid, can be seen in the sky occasionally. High up in the sky, circling, and then it will disappear in the clouds. It seems like it's following you, checking on your progress at the very least. You likely won't make it out of the city by nightfall.
Big city.
A very big city. The buildings in this area are a little bit taller. They're just as sturdy in appearance as the one you spent the night in and those around it. As the latter part of the afternoon approaches, it appears a rock is thrown at your company. And then Jeel is struck in the side of the head with one. Who or what had thrown the rock, you do not know.
How big of a rock?
It's quite a large rock, about the size of a human head.
How much damage do I take?
It was a grazing blow. Take 1 point of damage. It rebounded off the side of your head and rolled a couple feet in front of you with almost like a hollow sound.
Tuco does a tumble roll to put his back against a building and starts scanning with bow on the ready.
A hollow sound from the rock or his head?
From the rock.
That hit my head.
Yes, that hit his head. And uncharacteristically hollow.
I'm going to take a look at this rock.
You bend down, pick up the rock, and turn it in your hand to look at it, and it's a human skull.
I'd have to use 2 hands because they're small.
Yeah, but they got that little hole in them.
I'm going to pick it up and show it to the party. Humanoid skull. Well, medicine check. 26. Human skull?
Not a human skull. It's a little bit larger, a little more angular, almost looks elven.
Maybe elven.
Perhaps from the old Fae that once lived here.
Anybody want this? This is an interesting curiosity.
No, thank you.
I don't have that as a spell component. No, thank you.
Any sign of what pitched?
And then another skull in a high arcing movement comes, lands in the center of the street. From another.
Which direction?
The first one was to your left. The second one came from almost in front of you. And this most recent one came from your right.
Perception check. Can we see the throwers?
Go ahead.
All of us or just
Jared for now.
10.
10. You can't make out any movement, any shapes, anything.
Shynn, do you want to get to the top of the nearest building? Tallest nearest building?
I don't have a problem with that. I'll run up the top of the nearest building. Is there anything on the rooftops that I can see?
Shynn begins to climb up the building. Much easier. There's a lot of vines to get footholds. Not that it matters for you because you're effectively stuck to the side of the wall. When you get up to the top, it's vines, plants, leaf litter, twigs. Stop and scan the other buildings. What are you doing?
That's what I'm doing right now, is scanning all the rooftops in the area to see if they're getting thrown off of a rooftop.
As you begin to turn and take in your surroundings, there are a series of loud bestial bellows, and you look to see low, crouched forms on the tops of the buildings. Ape-like, silver in color, thick, muscular beings with pointed heads, broad shoulders.
How many rooftops away?
On which side would you like first?
Let's start on the left and then go center and then go right.
To your left, there are perhaps 10 or 11 on one rooftop and other forms skulking about on the other rooftops on the left. To your right, it's the same. And across the street, a very similar scene.
I will point and message coup. All attacks coming from rooftops. Several houses to the left, several houses to the right, several houses in front of us, close to a dozen on each.
They're on the rooftops. There sound to be dozens of them up ahead. We may have come into a nest. We might want to find an alternate route. I don't know what they are. Shynn doesn't know what they are.
Would you like to, you and Tuco, find us an alternate path?
I think we should back out of the area.
Okay, let's back off a block or two.
Come on, Shynn.
So the plan is to back out of the area?
Go back a couple of blocks.
Are you walking backwards, or are you doing it about face?
I would be walking backwards.
Yeah, walking backwards. I don't really want to turn my back on skull throwers.
Shynn, what are you going to do? Coming back down?
Yeah, I don't think I can throw something that'll make it to there, so I think I'll come back down and catch up to the other guys real quick.
Shynn comes down face first, which is always awkward to watch and unnerving. Joins you on the city street, and you begin to back out of this area. As you're backing out, there's a lot of whooping and growls and skulls being thrown at your feet. The occasional pile of poo comes your way. And then from behind, there is this rumble of a growl out on the city streets.
Turn and look.
As you slowly turn and look, you see one of these things, a large ape, almost entirely silver, running through the city street in a circle, dragging something behind it, beating one of its paws on the wall and bellowing. It's got great big dagger-like fangs, and you soon notice it has one of these snake things, still flailing arms and legs. It's battered, beaten, and bloodied. The ape thing swings it in a wide arc over its head, slams it against the city street, and flings it in your direction. It coasts over your heads and lands opposite you in the city street, skidding to a halt. Then some come pouring out of buildings.
Tuco releases an arrow.
Beat it soundly with mighty fists and begin tearing it to pieces while it's still alive. Where's the arrow going, Tuco?
The big silver back in front of us. 22.
That's a critical hit.
Yeah, I'd have advantage on it anyway, but let's see if I get it. Oh, it's an auto crit.
It's an auto crit.
It's an auto
You're
crit.
an assassin.
With sneak attack. So it's the D8. Wait, short bow. D6.
8d6.
Thank you. 25 hit points for this arrow.
Big ape that was dragging around the snake thing stands up and beats its chest as it roars. It is incredibly intimidating and almost terrifying, even to you people who are pretty terrifying yourselves. Tuco turns around, draws an arrow, and shoots it square in the eye, and it falls backwards dead. And then more of these things pour out into the streets, thumping the streets with their hands, running sideways.
We either run or we find a building to get into, and we create a bottleneck and take them out that way.
So they came out of the buildings and ate the snake thing that got thrown over our heads into the path we were leaving by.
No, it was the thing. The snake thing was thrown over your heads from behind. You were backing out.
Yeah, so if it was thrown over our heads from behind,
Yep.
then it went into the path that we're going to, or the path that we're leaving.
You're
The path
walking
we were leaving.
backwards.
The path that we were leaving.
We have a clear path where the silverback was.
Correct.
How far is the closest house?
They didn't eat it. They just tore it apart.
I'm not paying attention to what they're doing with it once it's ripped apart. I'm just looking for the direction thing.
Yes.
Because it's much better to go to the less ones than back towards the ones that have at least 36 of them waiting for us.
That makes perfect sense.
If nobody else is doing anything, I'm running right at the ones that came out and ripped the lizard apart.
We're going the other way.
That's okay.
Well, the ones that ripped the lizard apart was the one that was behind us that Tuco shot.
No.
Opposite.
Let me draw you a diagram.
He pounded it on the
would be
ground and
helpful
threw it
right
over
now.
our heads.
You threw it into the street that we were leaving.
Shynn, are you still going to run into the densely populated
Yep.
ape? Okay.
And as soon as I get within 5 feet of them, I'm thunder stepping straight back 90 feet so I will get ahead of the group.
Roll for initiative, Shynn.
Just Shynn or everybody?
Yes, just Shynn. But unless you guys are following Shynn into the densely packed. No.
15.
So you run up.
I run up and I thunder step.
Shynn runs towards all the apes.
Oh, this is going to be good.
I'm backpedaling. I'm not turning away from him, but I'm definitely moving away from him.
I don't want to see what happens. I'm just going to run.
So everything within 10 feet gets a con save.
As much as I might like to dissect Shynn at some point, no, not right now.
9, 10.
Like to dissect.
That's 15 points for a no save. 15 points of damage for a no save.
Then you kaboom.
I kaboom and go straight back 90 feet, which should put me in front of these guys on the flea path.
You run up towards the apes, who look extremely pleased with this. And then, just as these gray hands reach for you, there is a crack like a gunshot, and Shynn appears right in the middle of where you now are, backpedaling. For a moment, the apes scatter, and there's a lot of whooping coming from buildings and alleyways, and then more skulls begin to be thrown.
Let's find a building, fellas.
Tuco, lead us out. Find us a defensive position.
I scanned quickly in our position. I'd like a one-story. Do I see one?
There's what looks like a home, almost townhouse style.
Not a solid brick. Is it stone?
No, it's all. These are all
They're
all
all
a
stone.
white stone.
How many windows?
There's 2 that you could see right in front, facing the city streets.
Approximately how big are these windows?
They're quite large. Like you could stand up inside them comfortably.
Do I think these apes could fit through them?
Not in their entirety. No, they're
Okay.
they're too broad.
Then that's the building I head for. Let's hit it. Find all the openings. Close them up.
Follow.
I'll be the last one in.
Are you aiming yourself in the direction you're running, or are you still doing a backwards backpedal?
Now I'm running in the direction. Now my whole force is pointing in one direction.
You run down the city streets in a mad dash towards this one building. The apes begin pouring out again. Tuco, you make it to the door, open the door, it kind of slouches a little bit on its hinges, and you're able to squeeze through.
I wrench at it to make sure it's large enough for Jeel to fit through.
You can get it open.
I'm waving my arm in.
I'm right behind you.
As the last one, whoever that might be,
Could be me.
enters, I pull a small 1-foot metal rod from a place on my belt, and everybody would have seen it before, and it snaps into a 6-foot metal rod, and I try to find a jam spot to get that door jammed shut.
You pour into the bottom floor of this townhouse and shoulder the door shut. Tuco readies this long
I'll put my
silvery
shoulder on the
pole
door.
and jams it into the door and into the ground, stomping it a bit with the heel of his boot. The city streets are beginning to fill with these things.
Jeel, this is your point. Everybody pick a window.
I got the door.
Ku takes a spot in front of the window, takes out a short bow, and we'll take shots when they come available.
Are these windows shuttered or are they just like wide open?
They're wide open. There's shutters on them, on some of them, hanging, dangling precariously.
What are the stairs to the second floor like?
They're all stone.
I go up the stairs with Lovak.
I tell somebody to check the back door.
I'll check. Is there a back door?
There is.
I'm looking
it
for roof
shut?
access.
It is shut.
Is there any sort of a bolt?
It's shut and bolted. You don't know how solid the door is. The
That's-
bolt is rusted in place.
It's gonna have to do.
We should probably all go up to the second floor because it'll create a greater bottleneck.
All right. Second floor.
Fair enough.
Good plan.
How many windows are on the second floor now that we're up there?
2 in the front, 2 in the back.
Is there a roof hatch?
There is a roof hatch.
Where are the windows located in conjunction with the stairs and the hatch?
There's 2 windows in the front, right above the 2 windows that were on the first floor. There's 2 windows in the back that are in another room. In between that back room where the 2 back windows are and the room you're standing in is a set of stone stairs leading up to a roof hatch.
This sounds like a great place for Jeel.
What do you need done?
They get in, you can go crazy.
Okay.
Comes up the stairs,
Because
kill it.
both stairways are right here.
Got it.
Tuco, myself, either of you who has any kind of range capability should man a window.
Yeah, we both do.
I think that's everybody except Tuco and Lovak.
And Lovak should probably stay here with Jeel.
Tuco has ranged. Be a short bow.
I meant to say
Oh.
Jeel and Lovak. Sorry,
yeah.
my mistake.
Save me a window.
I'm Tuco.
I take out a couple of pythons and knock them into the edges of the roof hatch as extra protection.
Shynn, you have those poison smoke bombs, yes?
Yep. 2 of them.
Great
3
time.
of them.
Great time to use them.
We should be high enough. I'm gonna have to get the timing just right, because if I drop it, it's just gonna smash. But I can hold on to it for 3 seconds and then throw it.
Whatever works.
Use a quick determination to figure out which window would be upwind. When you throw it out, it washes back towards the building.
Shynn licks his finger and sticks it out the window.
It works.
Gets grabbed by an ape.
So I will find the direction the wind is blowing away from the building so that I could drop it and flood a street as they're coming in.
The streets soon begin to fill with these large silvery forms. They beat fiercely against the walls of the building that you're in, and you can feel it shudder against their onslaught. Several are fighting fiercely to get through the windows on the first floor, but are having no luck. They're just simply too large. They're grabbing at the window frames, trying to wrench them free, trying to pull chunks of stone from the wall to get to you.
Are any of them climbing the walls towards the second floor at this point?
They're beginning to pile up to the point where they're climbing over one another to get to the second floor. You can hear the roof shudder as heavy bodies land on it. And then there's the beating, the fierce beating of meaty fists against the roof.
There's too many here. I'm going to put my short bow away and take out my daggers.
I'm going to, since they're still at range, I think now is a good time to use some range spells before they get close.
I'm going to start sending arrows.
So do you want initiative?
Yes, initiatives for everyone, please.
Ku.
19.
Lovak.
2.
Tuco's at 18. Shynn.
5.
Moulet.
4.
Jeel.
4.
GM.
19.
GM.
Look at the smile on his face. 19.
It seems the morale is wavering a little bit.
We're tied. You can go first.
GM and Ku.
The apes begin beating on the building from the front and the back. You can feel the building shudder. They're climbing up one another and begin tearing at the windows, trying to rip chunks of stone free. There's a thick coating of paint and other material on the outside of these buildings that begins to slough off in large sheets. Still a stone building, but the blocks of stone beneath are starting to shudder. Old joints turning to dust, blocks being loosened, but they still have not been able to get in. Many make it up to those 2 windows in the front and the 2 windows in the back and begin pounding on the wall surrounding the window, trying to squeeze themselves through the windows, bellowing, throwing skulls. Another snake thing comes whizzing by and hits the wall hard. That's their turn.
The other 19 is cool.
The window I'm at, are any of the arms trying to reach in?
Oh, yes.
I'm going to slash at it with my dagger, my masterwork. 22
That'll hit.
for 8 points of damage.
The arm immediately is withdrawn from the window, and there's a bellow once your dagger bites into the palm of the hand.
That's my action. I'm going to stay far enough away so that when an arm reaches in, it can't quite grab me.
Because you'll go through that window nice and easy.
Oh, yeah.
You're an appetizer.
Next is Tuco. Since they have reached the 2nd floor, Tuco has reslung his bow and pulled his rapier, and he is slashing at arms as they reach through the window. 14 plus 6 is 20. That's for rapier D8 plus 3. 8 plus 3 for 11.
And the same thing happens as when Ku attacked. Those grasping arms in the window, Tuco slashes wildly at them, and once they're cut, there's a bellow, and they retract their arms, pulling them out the window.
Next is all of your single-digit folks. There's Shynn.
I interact with object and throw my hempen rope on the floor, prestidigitation one end so that it's on fire, and then take all of my grenades out of my backpack and sort them.
That's Shynn. The 2 4s are Moulet and Jeel.
Jeel's holding position.
With his maul out.
Yeah. Being showered in dust because they're beating the ceiling or the roof fiercely.
Moulet.
So Moulet he's keeping his distance from the window. You can see them clearly stuffing out the entryways. I will call on the power of my patron and cast Eldritch Blast. Usually in combat, you guys are kind of distant from me, but you're not probably quite as used to being in close quarters, so you will feel this ripple of energy as I draw in, and the crack kind of makes your hair stand up, like during the thunderstorm. This crackling energy that I gather to me before I thrust 2 beams at the ape in my window. That is an 18 to hit and a 10 to hit.
The 18 will hit.
He takes 6 points of force damage.
There is another howl as this bolt of arcane energy shoots out the window, and the face that appeared in the window trying to muscle its way in immediately disappears with a bellow, but the fierce beating on the outside of the building continues. Actually, it begins to build.
Lovak.
I'm sitting here waiting with Jeel because I don't have any immediate targets. I don't know if I can see the windows from here.
You have a good shot of the back window.
I'll fire off a firebolt out the window. Probably going to have a similar effect, but that's a 12 to hit.
That'll miss. The firebolt slams into the wall.
And I'll just sit here and wait.
The beating of the building continues. And that is the end of the GM's turn. Nothing can quite get in yet, but they're still tearing and rending at the walls. They're still fiercely beating the rooftop. There's a creaking that Jeel and Lovak hear coming from the roof as the beatings continue.
Ku drops his pack, grabs a bag from his pack, and runs to where the stairs are going downstairs. He opens the bag and then dumps 1,000 ball bearings down the stairs, drops the bag, and runs back, picking up his pack, putting it on, righting himself in front of the window, but far enough away so he can't get grabbed.
The 2nd floor window.
Yes.
You hastily untie the tie on your bag and dump countless silver balls onto the stairs. They bounce with a clamor that can even be heard amongst all the whooping and bellowing of the apes, and they roll throughout the room. Then Ku reappears upstairs.
Next is Tuco, continuing to slash at arms in the two adjacent windows. A natural 1.
Somehow missing every grasping hand, every groping arm that is reaching through the window.
Tuco is starting to second guess his decision to shoot the large one. 5 is Shynn.
Let's see, the window I plan on using, is it open or does it have something in it?
They're all open. They tend to all have a little something in it, mostly arms.
Okay, I take one of the arsenic bombs, light it, run up to as close as I can get to the window that's got the wind going in the right direction for me. Wait 3 seconds and then throw it out the window.
You might want to do a hold action, wait for one of us to clear that window before you throw it. Because once we stab something, they retract, and that creates an opening in the window. Yes?
Yes, but it's not entirely necessary, Shynn.
It's not entirely necessary.
As a matter of fact, if
What's
you
the worst could happen?
if you do it this way, it's going to be a lot more entertaining.
I count 3 seconds and I whip it through that window.
Roll it.
What's the DC for this?
Well, it's effectively a ranged attack because he's throwing.
But he's just trying to get through a hole,
Yep.
I guess.
Well,
But yeah,
correct,
so-
but it's still a ranged attack, yeah. But he's throwing, so it's strength.
So that's a 16.
No, dex base, right?
Okay.
Not if you're throwing. Thrown weapons are strength based unless they're
Thrown weapons are dex based.
unless shooting weapons are dex based. Thrown are strength based unless they are finesse, like daggers. Like hand axes though are strength based throw.
Do you want
Is this
to?
a finesse weapon?
No.
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 Nope.
Do you want to
Nope.
reformulate your plan?
Nope.
Okay.
It's 12.
You light the arsenic bomb.
Strychnine, actually. It's not
Yeah,
arsenic.
Strychnine. You light
much
this.
better.
You light the strychnine bomb. This fragile glass ball, and a tiny wisp of smoke begins to come up from it. Begins to rise. You count out 3 seconds in your head, and you take a step, and you pitch it towards the window. As you pitch it, this slender brute of an ape manages to get its upper body through the window, braces its arms on the inside wall, and begins to pull. It sees the party inside and bellows, and then is hit square in the face with this strychnine bomb. There is a puff and a slight tinkling as it shatters, and the beast jerks its body out of the window, bellows, and you can just almost taste that strychnine in the air. Outside, you can see the smoke billowing out the thing's mouth and nose as it gags and spits the bomb out of its mouth, which is still pouring forth smoke. And that's the end of Shynn's turn.
Would you say that was a minuscule dose for us?
Yes.
So the medicinal of the strychnine is in minuscule doses, stimulates the nervous system and promotes cardiac action, sharpens all senses.
I think the adrenaline that's coursing through everybody's probably doing that, but I appreciate Frank's leading question. Without giving any other details, would you say that, like, all right, here we go again.
Shynn is now on speed.
I mean, the herbalist primer's pretty good, right?
Yes. I'm going to disallow that document at this table.
Shynn doesn't inhale it.
Moulet and Jeel.
Still just holding Jeel? Are you,
No,
are
because-
you getting pissed off now.
No, Jeel understands the smoke. What happens? He's gonna make his way to go up the stairs and through that roof.
There's no smoke in the house.
Oh, it's not in the
No,
house.
no, no,
Okay, I
no,
thought
no,
there
no.
was.
No.
Then I will be holding my position.
It was that whole minuscule dose thing, Jeel.
Yeah, I got
Stimulates
nervous.
cardiac action. It's like pre-workout.
Sharpens the senses.
Moulet.
Still plenty of apes in my window, I assume.
Plenty of apes.
Plenty of apes in my window. All right.
Much is that monkey in the window?
All right. I'll try for the same. So another crackle of energy. You'll feel all the hair stand up again and gather it. Green, black, charge, bolt. That was a 10 and a 25. Just all over the damn
The
map.
25 is a good hit.
8 points of force damage. And I say, at this rate, I feel like we may outlast the building. We may need to make some sort of exit. And I'll just look to Tuco and Ku as kind of my structural.
Tuco shrugs.
If we're going to clear a way out, it'll be behind Jeel and Lovak. But first, we would need Shynn to use his bombs in a safer manner to make a hole for us.
Disperse the crowd.
In moments after Moulet expresses his concerns, you hear blocks falling into the city streets from the first floor, and the growls of apes as they're climbing through the gap they made. And that's where we'll leave it this week.
Join us every other week as the Eves Watch continue their adventures in Perth. Thank you to our patrons. Find us on Patreon to join the executive producers team and support the podcast. Our cast: Bill Robitaille, Louis Aponte, Frank Whedon, Jared Parker, Marcus Holt, Sin Morse, our DM, Scott, and me, Nova. Thank you, our listeners, for joining us every other week.